And then from that, I started doing interviews, and my approach was very different than everyone else's. Everyone that was a journalist really wanted to interview the DJs and the artists. There was a huge line of people that you had to just kind of like jump in the queue to talk to Skrillex or Cascade or Deadmau5. Everyone wanted to interview these artists, but I really didn't care about the DJ. I thought that the experience, I call music festivals people festivals. I think it's all about the people and the connection and the awakening that a lot of people have at events, whether it's awakening to their own potential or feeling like the connection and love from their friends that they hadn't felt before, the community itself. So I was really into what the festival producer was doing. I was like, I want to talk to the guy that's paying all the DJs, not the DJ that's getting paid, So it was an amazing approach because no one wanted to interview the producer. No one wanted to interview the guy that was paying for the whole thing and that oversaw the whole creative vision. Because just in curating the lineup itself, that is an art. It's an art just to curate the artists. So that was proved really, really fruitful for me because I was able to travel around the country interviewing the producers and literally having, like a lot of time to spend with them and picking their brains about how I could form my own, role and unique position inside of the music festival world. So from there, I started working with the same company that I was connected to from the promoter side, Relentless Beats. I had a business partner that was also a very eccentric, very creative person that he also saw a vision of stepping into the music festival world in a much more creative and dynamic way. So him and I put together a 6-month marketing plan based off of like just reading it out of our business books. We were still both seniors in college at this point. And we approached Thomas Turner, the owner of Relentless Beats. We got a meeting with him through, the connections that we had made from promoting. And we pitched Tom and we said like, hey man, this is, we've been to enough of your festivals. Here's the things that we think we can improve. Here's the things that we think we could add. And we listed out, everything you could think of, from performers to sponsorships to, creating vendor villages to, all these different activation ideas for running campaigns on campus at ASU. All this stuff. And he looked at it and he was like, this is all great, but we don't have any money to pay you guys. So we went back. I remember the day still. We went back and sat down at my apartment and started thinking like, okay, which one of these things would bring in money without having Relentless Beats pay us? And the main thing was sponsorships. We're like, okay, if we bring them a giant check for a sponsor to come in to the event and we take a percentage of it, then we could start working with them on just a commission basis. So Relentless Beats was into that. They had a few freelance sponsorship agents that were already kind of doing the same thing. So they connected us to them. They sent us all their pitch deck materials and we just started hunting. We literally started going to gyms and car dealerships and that was, so initially we were going after those big fish that I mentioned earlier. And we landed a gym. We got a gym, I think, for like $5,000 or $6,000. And we brought them in for the big New Year's Eve festival, Decadence, which is one of the country's largest New Year's Eve events. And this was in 2015 or 2014. And so after we did that, they saw our ambition and our drive and they hired us. Very nominal salary, but we were officially getting paid to work in the music festival world. And so we started hunting sponsorships and it's a very long story, but so from there we started producing those Ancient Future club shows. in kind of in tandem with working with the festival producers and doing sponsorships for them. And then I started to find new clients, new festivals that wanted us to work with them. And we started working with them and realized that we couldn't do it while still being paid salary by Relentless. So we formed our own company, and it was specifically to do sponsorships and brand activations, which is like the creative side of the sponsorship world, for electronic dance music festivals, and stick into that niche category. So from there, I did that for a couple of years, and my former business partner was really in love with the events that we were producing locally, and saw that as his way to grow professionally. And I was very much more into working with these massive festivals and being involved in that level. So we kind of naturally separated in that way. And then we toured around the festival circuit and did sponsorships. That led to doing budgeted activations. So the big thing with me on a creative end was that when we were doing sponsorships, we had a lot of people to make happy. So we had to make the brand happy first and foremost. Then we had to make the festival producer happy that they allow this brand to come in. Then we had to make the festival attendees very, thrilled to have this company in their space. And like providing value to them. And then I had to make my own staff happy that they're even working the event. So it was a lot of logistics and a lot of responsibility. And it kind of took away from the creative nature of things and took away just from like the overall experience. We typically didn't make all four of those parties happy. At least one group wasn't too happy. So from there, I was like, I need to completely restructure this. I only want to get paid by the music festival to produce an experience. I don't want to have a brand involved. I think we've proved ourselves enough to produce experiences that people love, that add value to an event. So then I just started getting paid budgets from the music festival itself and transferring from the sponsorship world into the creative director type of position to curate really awesome things and just be focused on making the festival attendees happy. So that was, that was kind of my path through that. And then through that, I started doing experiences where I was creating VR and augmented reality, environments. And that's how I met the VR company that I'm now a co-founder of. And I also was producing something called The Lost Hotel. And that was my favorite experience by far. I got connected to this group that was formerly a Burning Man camp, and they started touring around this really, really amazing hotel, literally multiple floor pop-up hotel that took like a week to build. And it was for like really high-end guests. So anywhere between like $1,500 to $3,000 per room for a weekend at a festival. Typically they were like international guests that were flying in and they didn't want to bring, a sleeping bag and tent on a plane. They started touring this hotel around the festival circuit, and they brought me in as the creative director for the hotel. So I was curating the workshops, and the whole hotel lobby would have workshops every day. We'd have biohacking technologies. We'd have different experiences going on in the hotel. And then I'd also be doing the negotiations with the producer, the festival producer, to sell the experience of the hotel into the event. And then I'd also be selling rooms and talking to the clients that were interested in attending. And, it's a very enticing offer because we weren't actually in the campgrounds. We were in the middle of the festival. So you get to like stay and sleep inside of the festival, which was, created a lot of magic. But so from there, I actually booked the former VP of Hilton, former VP of sales and marketing for Hilton, and actually worked directly under the Hilton family. And he had just had like his own personal awakening where he had open heart surgery and, nearly died and kind of reassessed his life and became a yogi and a yoga instructor, and opened up a yoga studio in San Diego. So he loved all like the, positive, conscious experiences that I was bringing into this hotel. And he said, he looked at me and he was like, hey, what you're doing here temporarily, I want to do on a permanent level. So over the last 2 years, him and I have been building out a hotel brand and management company focused on bringing transformative culture and yoga and wellness into the hotel space. So through music festivals, I've now have my two brand new industries that I'm working in, and that's VR and the hotel world.
So of those, like as you look towards the future more, like let's say in 12 months or 2 years, which one of those do you see yourself and your team, which industry working towards more?
Yeah, I mean, I see all of them working together. So I call it transformative entertainment. And I'm really like working on coining that term. And that means any entertainment that actually brings you a higher self, brings you a higher state of consciousness, whether that's through meditation or just mindful living, understanding like your true power, being more connected and in community with others. So very much, so the VR publisher that I work with now is called Andromeda Entertainment. And we're a publisher, meaning we bring experiences to the market. And all these experiences are focused on mindfulness and flow state and wellness exercise. They're all experiences that have a higher purpose and really like to combat all the violence and porn and things that are going to become more and more popular in VR. So we're kind of like the beacon of light for education and enterprise and wellness centers and hospitals. And then with the hotel world, it's very much the same thing. It's taking like the hospitality concept to where you can want to, stay at these hotels to actually connect with like-minded people, attend workshops, be around biohacking technologies and, float spas and cryotherapy. And then in the festival world, it's the exact same thing. We're bringing about these experiences that promote all of that. So it very much, I see myself in all three spaces. I don't know what that looks like exactly, but right now I'm doing it. So I know that they're going to continue to grow, and I might have to have separate teams for each thing. But yeah, man, it's all very much in the same nature of transformative entertainment.
And how many people are on your team?
So I currently have 3 for the Courtiers, which is my creative agency for festivals. But now I also have Andromeda, which we have a team of 8. And it's a tech company. So of course we're growing really quickly, and we're an emerging market. And then with the hotel, it's just myself and my business partner, Steven, who's about 30 years older than me and very, very experienced hotel executive.
Cool. And so, and the one is your agency, the others you're doing the like the independent consulting with, and then you work. Well, I guess one's a partnership.
Yeah. So I'm co-founder of both the VR company and the hotel. But funny enough, I did start as consultants for both of them.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And then I feel like I would be bummed if I didn't mention that I'm also co-founder of a company called Cadence and Cause, which was in the beginning of my festival career. It's a platform that connects nonprofits to music festivals. So it's very much in line with the same thing. And we've done a lot of activations. We've worked with Skrillex and Cascade, and we did a big one with Bass Nectar. But essentially, we find local charities in the home of where the festival is being produced, and we then create these really amazing experiences with artists, backstage type experiences, and you donate to the charity to win, basically a sweepstakes to win your chance to be with this artist. So I've also been doing that part-time, and that again just kind of blends together with everything else.
Of all these things, like you got hats in a lot of areas, but like one final question as we wrap up that we ask everybody, and I'm curious to hear your answer, is what is the one biggest thing you wish you knew when you first got started on your journey?